Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Books Don't Review Themselves. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kim. And today we have our third person with us. It's Scott. I don't know where to gesture because I don't know what this is going to be. But Scott! Yay!
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for joining us. I'm so excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott always writes the super funny, long reviews. So if
They're
you have
always like horror.
Yeah, a lot of them are horror, thrillers, suspense.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you haven't, which is good because we enjoy those
I don't
things.
branch out of that genre.
Nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy that, definitely go to our website and read them. But you should go read them anyway, even if you don't, because a lot of them are hilarious and they're really good. So, excellent.
Thank you.
Yes.
One of the things that we are doing for Halloween is we are doing the 13 Days of Terror. Our theme is serial killers. So we decided to have Scott pick out a book, and he picked out The Craftsman by Sharon Bolton. So that is the book we're going to be reviewing.
All right, so I'll just read the synopsis for us. Florence Lovelady's career was made when she convicted coffin maker Larry Grassbrook of a series of child murders 30 years ago in a small village in 30 years ago in a small village in Lincolnshire. Like something out of a nightmare, the victims were buried alive. Florence was able to solve the mystery and get a confession out of Larry before more children were murdered, and he spent the rest of his life in prison. But now, decades later, he's dead, and events from the past start to repeat themselves. Is someone copying the original murders, or did she get it wrong all those years ago? When her own son goes missing under similar circumstances, the case not only gets reopened, it gets personal. In Master of Suspense, Sharon Bolton's latest thriller, readers will find a page-turner to confirm their deepest fears and the only protagonist who can face them. All right, initial thoughts. How many stars? Scott?
I gave it 4.
Okay. Jess?
I think I'm at like 4.5 right now.
4.5. I
Yes.
gave it a solid 4 as well. We'll see while we talk if it
changes,
it goes
as
up
usual.
or down. Yes. Did you want to start us off wherever, Scott, or how do we want to do this?
So I was really worried because I saw Jess started this book like weeks ago on Instagram, and I'm scared shitless now because I've read like 5 or 6 books since this one, and I actually had to I'm like, holy shit, should I read this sucker again? But I got really worried because I didn't know the time, and this is my first time, obviously, but I liked the book. I did. The thing I didn't like about it was not that I didn't like it, but this is like the second book in a row that I've written or that I've read because of it being based in the UK, and that language, some of it's really bizarre.
Yes.
And living here in America, obviously, I didn't know what a WPC was.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to look that up, the woman police constable. Mm-hmm. I had to look that up. A lot of their schooling and grades are different as well. So I had to look that up as well. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. But otherwise, I did like the book. There were a few parts, I think, towards the end that were maybe a little more predictable. But it did include witches, which I thought was the coolest thing because I wasn't expecting that from the synopsis and, so on and so forth. But yeah, I liked it. I did like it.
Going back to how you're talking about the UK language and stuff, it's funny because even in the book, she, towards the end when she has the crowbar, and I think it's called a jammy there, she even, in her book, she even says jammy or crowbar. So I think she even knows like some of these words for us are like, what are you talking about? And I was too lazy to like look up the WPC and stuff like that.
Same. I just knew I never do. Like something police.
Exactly. I'm like, that's good. Whatever. I don't care. So, yeah.
I wanted it. Well, because there were a few times where she talked about like the hierarchy of the police. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to know, okay, who's the superior? And especially when the names start meshing together, it's different, obviously, Mm-hmm. It's not a sergeant or a lieutenant, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, even like that way, I don't think I would know the difference between like a sergeant, lieutenant. I'd be like, I don't know, whatever. Maybe like chief. I would know chief, but otherwise, it's all good. I don't know.
Otherwise, I did like it. I did.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
So I listened to this. I listened to the audiobook of this. And I always think that adds a little something because you have the accents and the conversation and whatnot. But kind of the same thing that Scott said is that it is based, like in the UK or whatever. So it is a little bit different. I find that a lot of the thrillers I've been like really liking are I don't know they're from the UK until I start reading them. And then I'm like,
same.
yeah. So it's like, I don't know if they're just better at it than we are. But like, it seems like most of the like thrillers that I pick have been from Europe, Ireland, that area. I think when I finished this book, I liked it, but I was like, And then after we discussed
which one? The
Furies?
Furies?
I think it made me think about this a little bit more, and I was like, I like this a little bit more than the Furies just because it was more adult, I think.
I can see that.
So yeah, I did like it. I liked the witches. Like Scott said, I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah. What I thought was really interesting is that who the killer is, right away. But yet as you continue, I found myself still so engaged because I wanted to see what happened and like how she found it out. So I found that kind of cool, even though the killer right away, that I was still engaged with it.
There were a couple of parts in the middle where I actually found myself second guessing my judgment.
Yeah.
But that was just because of the way that the author wrote it, but it still kept me engaged, like you said, even though I knew who it was right away. There were parts where, I was definitely second guessing myself. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good thriller or a suspense book where you're actually, second guessing yourself,
right?
Which is
and it's keeping you on your toes. So I did enjoy that, definitely.
She talks about the Freemasons. Was it the Yeah, it was the Freemasons.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
But she didn't really touch on them that much, which was fine. But I wish she would have more. I wish she would have incorporated like more history about them and stuff. Just because I've always like personally just found like secret societies, or I mean they're not secret. Obviously, people know about the Freemasons, but you don't know exactly what they do. So there's mysticism around those type of groups, and I just always find that fascinating. So I wish she would have.
Yep. I agree completely.
I guess what were the thoughts on how she wrote the book, where it was kind of like past, present, past.
Where it's flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
I thought it was easier to understand than some that I've read. I don't think it was too distracting. I mean, it was easy to keep track of her going back from like the beginning of the crime to then 1999, where it was supposedly present tense of the book. But it wasn't terribly confusing.
No. And it was a big enough chunk in the middle. It wasn't like every other chapter or something was going back and forth. So
right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some books.
Yes, definitely.
Haven't we read a couple that way that you're just like, I didn't know. And then everyone's name started with a D. And David, Donna, stupid. Debbie.
See, and like at this point, I've read like 3 books since this one. So name-wise, the only one I remember is Lovelady. And that's just because it's right in front of me.
Well, and it's funny because, like I said, I listened to it. So the person always saying Lovelady was like, Lovelady, like in that Irish accent. So like, I just found myself like that stuff.
That's how you say it. Lovelady.
Yeah, I'm like, Lovelady.
That's awesome.
I know.
When they start off with too many characters, it pisses me off. I can't take that. I don't have the attention span to be able to, because then I feel like, holy shit, do I got to take notes?
Yeah.
Like to be able to figure out who's these people are going to be in the middle or the end of the book. So I don't care for that. But this was easy enough to understand, where there wasn't a whole gang of people being introduced all at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why fantasy books make me nervous. Like if there's a map in the front, I'm concerned. Because
unless it's Harry Potter.
But there's not like, see, and that's different. But Lord of the Rings, like I've never read any of that, but like it just seems daunting.
Yeah.
Like
it seems like it would be overwhelming.
Well, and it's not even.
And plus the names are so weird too,
right.
on top of it. So you've got a Dave and a Dale. You got a, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that. Are we going to get into some spoilers?
Yeah, we can. Was there anything else we wanted to talk about first before spoilers? yeah, if you enjoyed this, awesome. Like, subscribe, and, go read our other reviews, because we are going to do some spoilers now. So if you don't want to be spoiled, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. All right, spoilers. Where do you want to start?
Well, I would like to start first. Well, there's two things I'd like to touch on.
Okay.
First of all, the evil fucking child.
Like, children are always
I didn't
evil.
know that I saw that coming. Because the whole time that the dad, I can't think of his
Larry.
name. Yeah, Larry was like, he's the one who did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out it was his kid. And it was like, it made me think about that. And I'm like, if I had a child that did that kind of shit, I would not sit in prison and be like,
right.
Mm-hmm.
No,
right.
Fuck that.
And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think I would, but I don't have children, so maybe I would.
If your child was murdering people.
But the child wasn't murdering. It just did the fake one. So, so for that, I would not. I would be like, screw you. But the reason why he did it is because of the other evidence, and he didn't want his family to have the repercussions of it. So, your face.
I just, you do anyway. I mean, he went to prison, so it's like you still have that stigma and repercussions. Like, your family's still fucked.
Yeah.
The way I look at it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I mean, we can go back to that. Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to touch on is the whole thing where he's, in the fucking coffin thing for the rest of his life, alive in the lake.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when it got all witchy and weird. Yeah. Did you like that? Do you have people you want to do that too?
It got me. It kind of got me thinking, because I'm like, first of all, forever is a long time.
That is.
I would like to know how the conversation goes, after the fact, when she's left, because she said she would always hear him or whatever. Yeah. So part of me is like, okay, so how does that work? And then the other thing I wanted to know was okay, if we did that with all sex offenders and all the other murderers and bad people in this world, would our lakes be full?
They would.
Yes.
With coffins?
Yes, they would. But, I mean, would you really want those people following you around?
Well, I wouldn't want them alive. I would just...
Yeah. I mean, but...
I just, put them in there and then put them in the water.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't do the whole witchy thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you would just kill them and just kill them straight out. You would have nothing else with it. I see that. That's fine. Cool.
I would put them in a waterproof coffin and just slowly put it in and
She's evil. I like it.
Don't tell me you didn't think the same thing.
Anyway, so any of your thoughts on what we spoiled or other spoilers that you were?
The same thing with the child. He was definitely annoying for most of the book for me. I just I don't care for kids like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was mostly that's the major spoiler for me. Yeah, definitely the child. I just didn't care for him. And just I don't know, his attitude, I guess, throughout the whole thing.
Just almost nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just really lackadaisical about the whole thing. I just didn't care for it, but anyway.
Yeah.
So because of his personality, I wanted him to have repercussions.
Exactly.
You deserve something.
Yeah. You're part of the problem.
Exactly.
Right.
I felt like he had something else.
No, it's just another thing to add to the checklist.
All right.
You start high and then you just start bashing them, and then it just gets lower and lower and lower.
Well, I always tell Kim, my husband and I have always been on the fence. He has a child, but we're always on the fence about having children. And it's I read, I go to Walmart.
Oh God.
I see all these examples, and I'm just
Yeah, no.
Pass.
And like you said, I mean, if your child does turn out like this, or
because there's no guarantee. Everyone's
No.
oh, it's the parenting. And it's yeah, some of it
is,
but sometimes you just have a shit kid.
Yeah.
Again, I always go back to this: the Menendez brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh yeah.
They had everything they could have wanted.
Yeah. How do I know I'm not going to get murdered in my sleep?
Exactly.
Or witchcraft in my sleep? And what do you do if your child's hey, Mom, I want to be a Wiccan?
Oh, then you go, cool. Enjoy.
You get him a Ouija board.
Oh God, no!
I had a Ouija board.
No.
Oh my God, I had a Ouija board. My neighbor gave it to me because she didn't want it in her house anymore. And I didn't do anything with it there. And then when I moved back, when I was in high school, my friend and I were in CCD together.
Oh, that's a good place to do that.
Yeah, and we were freshmen. So, like, it was when we were going to get our confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And she was over and we turned all the lights off and, like, lit a candle. And we're doing it, and it spelt like Abigail, and we're like, "Holy shit!" Like, and then we were like, "Oh, make the candle go out," and the candle went out, and I'm like, "Oh my God, turn on the light, turn on the fucking light, turn on the light!" And then I like threw it under the bed, and then I was like uncomfortable sleeping, and then we told our CCD teacher that we did it, and
you're going to hell.
He was so mad.
Oh my gosh! Before her Catholic confirmation, that's when you played it.
You dropped that bomb.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he also got really upset when, like, you talked about, like, yoga and, you know, whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's one thing I did. We played with a Ouija board once when I was a kid, and, like, nothing really happened, and I think other people were pushing it. But now as I've gotten older, I refuse to do those things.
You don't want to mess with the devil?
I do not. Or whatever entities are out there.
What are your thoughts on the Illuminati?
Like what in regards to?
I don't know. Do you think it's real?
I think it's real.
Do you think Beyonce and Jay-Z are in the Illuminati?
Why not? They can.
I've heard Jay-Z is in the Illuminati.
Who is?
I have heard that too.
Who?
I'm not
Jay-Z.
kidding you. I have heard that.
Okay.
Do you know him?
No, I don't. I don't know.
You don't personally have like sources?
What the hell?
No, but I have heard that. And like, supposedly, like all these
famous people,
big people, like, you know, high people in the media and stuff.
That's
like
and to me,
it's kind of fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think a lot of the times the secret society and stuff, I mean, it's about money and power more so. I mean, I'm sure there's occult, you know, stuff with some of them or all of them, but to me, that's how I always look at secret societies, more so that type of thing. But they all fascinate me. I would love to be part of one. Please, someone come contact me. I'll be part of your cult.
I think we need to make more.
You're
gonna get some weird.
Right now, see what you did?
Like Utah. Like the
oh my gosh.
Sister Wives.
Who was the Kool-Aid serial killer?
Oh, Jim Jones.
Yeah, Jim Jones.
Yeah,
yep.
Jim Jones. That's right,
Yep.
Jim Jones.
What, Heavenly Gate? Was that his? I don't remember, but yeah.
I don't know.
That sounds familiar.
Or maybe that was the 1999, the world's gonna end. There's so many crazy cults out there.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of them all.
Yeah.
No, I want a nice cult, not
You could be part of, like I said, like Sister Wives.
No, God, no. Ew, no. They have children. I don't want the children.
They have lots of children.
Exactly.
Like 20.
Yeah, no.
You know, I watch that stuff and I'm like, how do they pay their bills?
I know.
Like,
it is pretty crazy.
It is.
Like, how do you pay for 4 houses?
Well, I'm sure there are assistants, but that's a lot of kids and a lot of people.
But how?
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't know.
Contact them to see if you can become one, and then you can find out.
Now they're going to contact you, though, so you won't have to worry about it.
They'll be knocking on our door.
Like,
we're
next
here.
time you're going to see me, I'm going to be in a jean skirt, floor-length
jumper.
skirt.
A jumper.
My hair's going to be down to here and just...
And you'll have a turtleneck with, like, a pattern on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a brooch.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget the brooch.
Yep.
That's how you should dress up for Halloween.
As a sister wife. But like Jeff Warren's sister wife.
Yes. But in town, people probably would just think you're a normal person and won't realize it's a costume.
Right. They'll be like, what are you supposed to be?
Hey, you're closer. You're closer.
You're closer than what?
To Utah.
So what does that have to do with
That's where all the polygamists are.
I'm sure they're...
That's who they are. Yeah. I think they're all Mormons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to convert from your Catholic stuff?
I think that Scott should test the waters.
Oh my
and
God.
And let us know. Report back.
No, but they don't want more men. They don't want competition. They want ladies.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So you should really...
You should... Farm out your wife.
Oh my God. No. Okay, this is taking a bad turn. Not good. You're weird. But I mean, even after, I would still give it a 4 because I really, really enjoyed how she went. Oh, the other thing, I knew there was something else, and this is why we edit, because it's going to take me like 7 hours to remember. Yeah, so if you guys have other things to talk about,
well, one thing I wanted to add: do you think reading this? Do you think you're going to read the other books in the trilogy?
Because wasn't trilogy?
Wasn't there other books behind this one supposedly?
Oh, I did not realize that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I don't feel like I would.
I might.
Yeah.
I might listen to it.
Because to me, it felt like a complete story. I mean, I didn't even realize it.
Well, I want to know, like, what happens. Like, after you put the guy in the coffin in the lake and he's there forever. Like, what is your future?
I can't remember where I read that, but I'm almost positive that was the case, that there was another book or two behind this one.
Okay. Interesting. As we try to frantically Google and...
How did you... How did you find this book?
In the first place?
Yeah.
You know what? Someone posted it on my news feed or on my Instagram feed, and I can't remember who it was. Otherwise, I would give that person a shout out. But I got it used on Amazon Marketplace. Okay. And just when I read the synopsis, it seems like it would be one that was interesting to read. And like I said, I did like it. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember for the life of me where I saw that there was another book or two behind this one. I'm sorry.
No. So I can we can do some more research and I can put it in the links and stuff down below. Cool. If we find it. And it looks like it came out a year ago because it came out October 16th, 2018.
It was a relatively new release, correct?
Yeah. And when you're talking about it on the Instagram feed, I've actually been seeing it crop up. I mean, we're on similar sites and friends and stuff, so it could be cross-cropping, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, since this book is like a year old, for it to still be that relevant, to be showing up on Instagram, I mean, I thought that was pretty impressive.
I agree. And when I posted that I was reading it, there were a few people that chimed in, I really enjoyed this one, or I just finished it. So even though it's a year old, it did seem to still have relevance to the community. So,
which is awesome. Have you ever read any of Sharon Bolton's other books at all?
No, this is my first one from her. Okay. So.
How about you?
But it seems like, I would definitely try others. Mm-hmm. You know, I think like what you were saying, Kim, it seemed like it was a finality. I mean, I don't see why you would need 2 or 3 more, but maybe, the story probably obviously goes on from there, maybe with more of the witch cult, and maybe elaborating on those stories.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I like witches, so that could be interesting.
When it's done, right?
Yeah. It's just I have so many other books to read. This, I'm not like, but maybe if you read it and tell us it's awesome, then maybe I would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do with all your books that you've
acquired?
Mine?
Are you going to build like a kitty fort for your 2 kitties?
Yeah. Well, I saw one of those pictures where it goes from like the ceiling and it kind of like angles down, and like look at Justin's face.
Yeah. Keep going.
It angles down and holds it's kind of weird, but it starts at the ground and then it kind of angles up towards the ceiling. And I wanted to try and do that and make this arch kind of a books.
That'd be fun.
See, Kim doesn't ever have books, legit books. She makes fun of me
because you have a lot of books, which is good. I love books though. I love books. The only books that I really have are reference books.
Okay.
Because I think upstairs, actual books that I own that are fiction, I think I have 4. So.
And you'll probably get rid of them in the next month.
I just
legit.
Yeah, I just went to Goodwill and I gave them 8. So I had 12, so I'm down to 4. So
see, and I am I have a problem.
I think most book people do, which it's not.
But here's the thing: problem. Is my husband is not a reader. So when I had an iPad Air 2 or something, I don't know, and I downgraded to the iPad Mini because I thought that was more preferable for reading and whatnot. And unfortunately, I had to kind of stick with iPad because I had a couple of I bought the whole Harry Potter series on Apple Books. So I needed to be able to access that. And then I have a bunch of playbooks from Google Play and then whatever on Kindle. So it's like that's the only really option to access all three of those databases. So I got that. And so when I got that, my husband's like, so we're not buying any more books, right?
Did you laugh at him?
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to do all ebooks now.
Yeah, you said that to
really?
him?
Yeah, I did say that.
She lied.
And then we were in Minneapolis for something, and I was like, so there's this big, like, book thing at Barnes & Noble. You know, we should check it out. And I went, got picked out, like, I made my list before I went, got the books, whatever. And then I think we were getting coffee, so I was looking through, because I have this
Scribe. No, we said Scribe. We're going to call it Scribe.
I have the Scribe app. They really should sponsor me.
Maybe it is. No,
they
Scribe.
really should.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I have that, and that's like $8.99 a month. And so I get audiobooks, ebooks, and then magazines. So it's super nice. Pretty much everything I've looked up, they have. I mean, there's a couple things where they might not have, or you might have to wait a little bit for like one or two books. Like if you've listened to a lot. I looked up every book I purchased, and it was on the app. And I was like, fuck.
And you kept them anyway.
And Josh is like, are you going to return those? And I'm like, I'm like, the thing is, I was like, I do miss reading like a physical book. And I said, this book is probably better being read as a physical book because of the way the pages look and everything. And he's like, you're not returning them, are you? I'm like, I don't think so. So I have those. And then, so it was so funny because I had a bunch of those books, and they were like in like just a box or something, and he threw it in the attic. Well, I was looking for a book. He pulled that box out of the attic, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know I had this and this book. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like Christmas again. I'm like, I forgot I had all these.
Don't they say to do that with children? Like to take their toys, like half of them or something, and put them in a tote and put them in the closet, and then take them back out like 6 months later?
I would be so mad. But then the other funny thing is one time we were watching Hoarders.
And you felt like one of them?
No.
Oh, okay.
I felt completely comfortable. But this hoarder, and this was after an argument about books.
You and Josh had?
Yes,
okay.
We had an argument about books. Mm-hmm. And how he said, I have so many. And I said, I don't think I have as many as he thinks I have. And then we started watching Hoarders, and she was hoarding books and magazines. But it was floor to ceiling. And it was like a big fire hazard, and like every room, and I just slowly see.
This is going to be you one day.
And I was like, I'm not even close to that.
You just need to buy a bigger house. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Do you have a big house, Scott? Do you have room for more books?
No, it's not that big. Yeah, we've got a pretty
camper.
We do. Yeah, I could put them in the camper. One thing I wanted to mention, so this author contacted me on Instagram about reading this advanced copy of his book, and he gave me a link, obviously, to his PDF file. Mm-hmm. And I just don't really like the whole ebook thing. I just because the reason why I started this was to get away from electronics and technology and stuff like that. And that blue light, I feel like if I'm reading a book, then I'm just looking at more blue light. And even though you can dim the filter and put it to a lower, warmer resolution, whatever, I just feel like it's just not for me, really.
Yeah. And I do struggle with that too, because I am super blind. Mm-hmm. And so on my phone, I turn off the blue light or whatever. So like it's yellowy, I don't know, but I'm used to it. And then on my iPad, when I read it on the Kindle app, I think I have it on the green, like, background. I don't know. And I have to play with it sometimes because otherwise my eyes start to bug out. But I notice, and it's frustrating because I notice, like, pretty much every book we get is an ebook because that's just the easiest way.
Yeah.
The easiest,
we go
cheapest
through
way.
NetGalley. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it seems to take me longer to read an ebook than a physical book. And I don't know why.
I can see that. I think just plus the scrolling up and down, like it would just be hard to follow, you know?
Yeah, I'll swipe.
I can see myself getting a headache.
The only thing I like about it is like the being able to like highlight a word to get the definition or hear how it's said or, you know, something like that. Yeah, I miss real books. So that's something I want to, and this is the thing. My goal was to read one podcast book, listen to one book, and read one physical book a week.
Oh,
I have
okay.
failed. Like, I started, like, that was my goal, and I have not completed it once.
Well, November is soon. You can start again and try.
Yeah, because, like, I noticed I just seem to read faster. And I don't know, too, like, if it's the fact, A, that you don't have the background, because, like, I work on a computer all day. So,
Sure.
And then, like, the stuff that I'm doing on the computer is really, like, intricate and clicking boxes and, like, you know, so it's...
You want to get away from that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is when I'm reading a book, I'll be like, oh, I only have 3 pages left. I'll just, like...
Finish it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pisses me off when I see on the Kindle that they're like, oh, you've only read 10%. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, you know, or you have 7 hours left in this book. And I was like, you don't know me.
I like the Kindle for that reason, with like the 10% non stuff on the bottom when it's a crappy book, because then like I start skimming and I can see how fast I'm going. So I'm like, okay, this will take me like an hour to skim. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that then. But I do love regular books. And for me, as I'm getting older, my sight is not as good. So for an e-reader is good for me because my print, I swear to God, I think I have like 15 words on a page because I need it so big.
Large, sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
And I mean, I know there's large print books out there, and sometimes I do get it from the library, large prints. Mm-hmm. And then that's the other thing, you know, people are like, well, you're a book lover. You don't have like any books. That's very true. But I'm also a Virgo, and I like order, and I don't like clutter. And not that books are clutter, but they are to me, but they aren't. So that's why, like, I started doing the reviews, making sure that I wrote the reviews, because even though I'm not always buying the author's books, at least I'm helping to support in a different way, because I would feel really bad otherwise. Like, haha, I'm getting all these free books and I'm not like reviewing them at all, because that would feel bad. Plus, I'm helping the library with their circulation, so.
Yep, that makes sense.
I can read
I like the physical book. The physical copy is what it just seems like it makes more sense to me. Just because, like Jess said, you know, using the computer all day long at work, and then you come home and then you get your phone on lunches and breaks, and then you got the phone and drive home, and then you come home and then you got to stare at an e-reader. It's just not my gig, but.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that would make it a little bit different for me is that, I mean, I have the iPad, so it's still like a really regular screen, where when I think Kindle has like, because I know I used to have a Nook, and then they had some special when I bought the Nook that I got the Nook like Paperwhite or whatever it is. So the way the screen was, it wasn't like a typical.
It wasn't as glary.
Yeah, at all. So that maybe would be better, but it's like, I can't get something that has that, and then I wouldn't have access to any of my
other books that you're reading.
Right. So that is a frustration. But yeah. So do you use the library ever, or do you just purchase your books?
I have. Now that I've started this, I have. There's a couple of good. There's actually a bookstore in one of the senior communities close by where they've got an actual used bookstore in the library. Nice. So I think it probably comes from like old circulation or whatever, but I've gotten a couple of them from like 50 cents, 75 cents. So I've gone there quite often, which is kind of nice. It's a good resource.
And it helps the library too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. So is your wife a reader?
She is. She hasn't been as much as me, but yeah, she is.
So does she like the same kind of books or different books?
All genres, really, not just the horror and the thriller stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, it's funny because some people have that mentality. They're like, oh, I haven't read a book since high school. And it's like, then you just haven't found a book you like. Because to me, even if you listen to a book, I'm like, it's almost like a movie in my opinion. And what's hilarious, I guess, the thing that I kind of just thought about was the fact that I have been a pretty big audiobook person for the last probably 2 or 3 years. Before that, I never really listened to them. But it's funny to think, like, back in the day, you got your stories on the radio, you know? And so now it's like, that's how I'm, like, I mean, I can listen to probably 3 books a week easily with just the audiobook thing. But it's funny because there'll be times I'm laying in bed reading this book, and I'll be like, oh, my God. And, you know, and Josh will be like, what? And so I'll kind of give him a brief synopsis of what's happening, and it's usually like someone murdered this person and this person like is a rapist, and like, you know,
it's like, what the hell are you
and
reading?
he's like, what are you reading? Or like when I was listening to 50 Shades of Grey, I was in the bathroom getting ready, so I was like doing my makeup, and he hears like blowjobs and like whatever, and he's like, what are you listening to? I'm like, porn.
Basically, yeah.
But
which is funny. We like, you know, we usually talk about thrillers or suspense on the podcast.
Yeah.
And we decided we wanted to try to branch off a little. Yeah, that didn't go well. We had like, oh God, it was like a Victorian romance / cozy mystery / Penny Dreadfuls. But the Penny Dreadfuls weren't like scary like horror Penny Dreadfuls. They were kind of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we realized that I'll read romance separately, which is fine. But together, it's just not something that we both enjoy.
No, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the book that we picked.
It could be too.
Yeah. It would be interesting to make you read like a romance or something, like a Harlequin.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't even want to read one of those necessarily.
Like, it's so funny. Like, I was telling Kim, you know, I'm like, a fun thing to do is like we should swap books. And be like, I pick a book and she pick a book and we swap books and then talk about it. But I said I wish I could get her reaction when I tell her the book, because when I told her, I'm like, we should review The Mister, she was like twitching, and she's like, what? I was like, it's really popular. I think we should.
Just because something's popular, if all your friends do it, are you going to jump off a cliff too? Yeah. I mean, I won't even get into The Mister. We already did a podcast. That's what yeah. Oh dear God. Yeah. So have you changed your mind about the rating? You're still giving it a 4.5, you said?
Yeah, I think I probably would stay at a 4.
How about you, Scott? Still a 4?
I would too. Yes, I would stay at a 4.
Me
Definitely.
Too. Solid 4, which is good. So everyone should read this.
It's kind of funny that we all kind of agree on that.
Well, that's the type of book it is.
Yeah.
A solid 4.
But I think we all also read very twisted, sick books that this
wasn't as twisted
as we were used to. So.
Right.
I was just posting your one about the Dairy Queen today.
Oh, I got that email and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I just get the like something Dairy Queen exploded in my head, and I thought she was just sending me an email, and I thought it was at first about diarrhea, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, this is a book? And then I didn't like open to see who did the review, but I'm like, there's no way fucking Kim read this. Like, what the hell?
It had to be Scott.
Because there was a couple times where like, I'm like, what? She didn't read this. And
it sounded like a good book. I mean, everything you read, most everything sounds really good.
I get so angry because I'm like, where does he find these things? Like the stuff like baby doll or whatever. I'm like,
what? Binky?
I don't know. There's so many. Or like feral or the thing with the bugs.
That was great. So this guy, this Carlton Mellick, the guy that wrote the Dairy Queen book, I've gotten a couple of his other titles, and they're super fun books. They're so off the wall, but incredibly twisted and fun.
Are they the one?
What's the genre?
The baby Jesus butt plug. Oh dear God.
So this one,
there's a vagina one, isn't there too?
Yes. It's like haunted vagina or something like that.
Yeah.
This one is about an exercise bike that is a woman is exercising on a spin bike or something, and the bike comes to life and tries to torture her and kill her.
Just getting a new bike.
Yeah. And then there's this whole
See, I don't. Where do you find these? Like, we're over here, we're reading like fucking 10,000 Doors of January.
That was a good book.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're on a lot of Instagram like groups and stuff with like horror groups.
So a lot of horror groups, a lot of people that are just twisted. I mean, in real life, but they post these photos, and I'm like, oh my gosh! So I started this Amazon wish list, and I just kind of like plug it in there, and then
that's a good idea.
Reminder, you know. So every time I see a photo, one I like, I put it on the Amazon wish list, and then I go find it or look for it, use it or whatever. But Carlton Mellick, I'm definitely going to get a lot more of his stuff. He just seems like a fun guy.
So, what's the genre of the Dairy Queen diarrhea book?
It's definitely horror. I would say horror. Definitely.
Because I couldn't tell horror. From the title.
Okay. A head exploding? You don't think that's horror? I don't think I sent you the whole title, though. I think maybe I shortened the title. Okay,
first glance, you get like the peak, when you open up your email.
And you just see exploding
I see
Dairy Queen.
Exploding. And then,
you're thinking explosive diarrhea.
Well, first I thought, did something explode in your face? Like, Yeah. And then the other thing I thought was like, did you get diarrhea from Dairy Queen? Like,
it could happen,
And it's funny because we do go to Dairy Queen. A lot of times we'll be together. We'll be like, oh, let's get Dairy Queen. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what was funny because Dairy Queen is like down the road from us. So I legit thought it was just an email from her. And I'm like, what? Why are you sending me this?
It was, honestly, it was just kind of a cute story, if you will. It was about this, these two kids in high school, and every time she goes to the Dairy Queen, her fucking face explodes. But every time, they get close, and then the dad's got to like rebuild the face, and I won't get into it. You can read the review, but it was an awesome book.
It's because she has so much love inside of her that her face just explodes. She's just filled
She's
with
got
love.
so much pent up love.
See, and that's not where my mind went either. My mind went like, is this a weight loss thing? Like, is this so she doesn't eat the Dairy Queen?
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
I figured with like the exercise bike and the evil, I should read that. My Peloton, by the way, is coming November.
When is it coming?
15th or 16th.
So you need 12th. To read that.
Oh, awesome!
Before. You should read it on the bike.
See, and I think we're gonna put the bike in our bedroom, and it's funny because.
Oh, cool.
So my husband's a paramedic, so he works 24-hour shifts. So sometimes if he's home in the morning, I'm getting up, getting ready for work, and he's, sleeping, whatever. But I can just picture myself, like, trying to get up before work to do this bike thing and, like, having my earbuds in and, like, swearing and, like, cussing and, like, God damn it, and, like, listening to me grunt. And he's
like, shut up, Jess, I'm trying to sleep.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Why don't you put it in the downstairs room off the living room? That would make more sense.
Well, that's, like, where Addie's room is. And
well, she's not there all the time. Just shove it in the...
Yeah, but I don't want her to touch it. That's an expensive bike.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you going to get rid of books? Or are you just going to keep gathering books?
All of my 1, 2, and 3-star reviews, I've turned them in for more books at half price books.
Nice.
So yeah, they give you cash on the spot for books that you don't want. So all my 1, 2s, and 3-star reviews, I've turned those in for even more books.
So you're building quite the collection.
Yay. I am. Yeah.
I think you're more popular than we are.
Why do you say that?
Because I just think you are.
It's because I think it's so nichey.
Yeah, I think the books that you read are just so
bizarre.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. We love it. But I just think like you said, like so many people crawl out of the woodwork and
that's because they're like a kindred spirit. It's so hard to find one, and you know, so they're like,
they take you on.
Yes, into a cult.
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to I think, was it Feral that I really wanted to read?
Feral was excellent. I love apocalyptic books and movies and zombies.
I don't think I've ever read anything like that.
Okay.
Or really watched movies like that.
The one, was it the tent where you said you needed someone to hold you after that made me laugh out loud. I think I snorted. I'm like,
you just went to your wife. You're like, can you hold me right now? I just read a scary book.
I mean, I love reading your reviews. They usually make me laugh, which is good, which is awesome.
It's a great book. It was super scary though, and we coincidentally brought it camping with us. So every single noise or twig breaking or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, did you hear that? Oh my God, what was that?
And where you guys were camping, was it pretty desolate?
There was not a lot of people up there. No. It was a couple of weekends after Labor Day, so there wasn't a lot of people around, and so it was. It was actually a fun book to bring camping. I'd do it again. So yeah, it was good.
See, that just makes me think of when I was younger and I would watch horror just to fit in. And I would watch like Jeepers Creepers. I'd be like, yeah, I love this.
Inside you're going,
and then I would be like, go to bed at night, and I'd be like, oh God. And then I would think of the noise, like the song that plays in it. And so I'd go wake my brother up and be like, hey, you want to come in my room and watch a movie? Or like, hang out for a little bit? Uh-huh. And then most of the time he'd fall asleep, so I'd feel a little bit better because I'm like, there's someone else that
and
will
he's
get
asleep,
murdered.
so
yeah,
exactly, he'll get killed
and then
first.
That and like The Ring.
That one freaked me out. It's just the whole twitchy thing. I don't. That freaks me out.
When she came out of the TV. Yeah.
And Japanese horror, I mean, it's a whole different genre, and they get some freaky shit going in.
Yeah, they're pretty intense. They're pretty
intense. They really are.
Yeah.
We should read one of those sometime.
See, and I like paranormal thrillers. So paranormal thrillers and like psychological thrillers. But like when it comes to like paranormal movies, I don't like watching them if I know I'm going to be home by myself that night. And like one time I made the mistake and I went to see Annabelle something with my friend. And I went home and I was like, fuck, Josh is working. And I'm like laying in bed and I'm like texting him. I'm like legitly freaking out. And I have 5 dogs. And so like a car would drive by and and sometimes they'll just sleep through it, especially at night. But every once in a while they'll hear like someone get out of the car or, talking, and they'll go running downstairs. So then I'm like, is someone here? And then Josh's bright idea was like, turn on the light. I'm like, you fucking idiot. A light's not going to stop a ghost from killing me. Like,
true.
He's like, just turn the light on. I'm like, that's not going to fix this. Like,
they didn't in the movies.
No.
They still killed in the daylight.
Exactly.
I know. So.
See, but I watch horror movies to learn what to do. So, like, I go, like, downstairs, I flip. Actually, I can't say her name. We have the lady that starts with an A that does things for you. And she's, like, connected to our lights. So we'll say, lady, turn on the kitchen. And then she turns the light on in there. So it's, like, magical. And then, because if I'm walking down the stairs and if I want the light on, because if I think a killer's in the house, then I can turn it on and maybe they'll get scared or maybe I'll be able to see them better so then they can't kill me right. I don't know. That's my thought. And then like when I am home alone though, I love watching horror movies, but like sometimes I will hear something. I'll just like go down and grab the big butcher knife. But then I think I'm so clumsy. If I try to stab someone, I'll probably end up like stabbing myself
and with a
somehow.
Butcher knife?
Well, what else am I going to grab? I mean,
well, what are you going to do with it?
Knife?
You can't like do this. You
throw it at him.
Have to like.
I don't know. We have a cast iron pan. I guess I could grab that. That's pretty heavy.
That's probably a better bet.
Yeah, than a knife.
So, how many books would you say you're reading a week?
A week? A couple. I don't know. Depending on the length. 2, 3 maybe.
Because you read some novellas and stuff too, which, are shorter.
Yeah. I've been trying to do like when I get like around 300, 400, 500 pages, then I like supplement it with a novella, after that, just to kind of go through something quick and then keep my reviews moving along.
Unlike Jessica. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for like an email that's like,
you suck.
You're kicked out. You're out. Scott's in. And you guys are gonna get like special jackets and everything, and
we're the cool kids.
Yeah,
like the T-Birds or Pink Ladies.
Ladies. And it's gonna be.
We'll be the. We'll be something. I was gonna say something, but that would have been bad. So yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Like.
And see, I enjoy just doing the podcast with you because I think we have a good dynamic. And
and if I can just like count that, then that would be great. But if they want me to like to physically write every review down, it's just like it's one thing if I just read it like on my own,
not for Nick Ellie,
right? But it's another thing when it's
you should just contact him and be like, hey, is this good or do you?
Because I'm still talking about it.
Yeah. Or you can like those computer programs where they like type what you say, then you can just have it listen to our podcast and then I'll just type up our podcast and you can send it to them.
Oh my god, that'd be a mess.
They'll be like, what? Why? What's all these F-bombs in here? But this was fun. I mean, we should do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm all for it, for sure.
Yeah, we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, let me know, for sure.
Yeah, have you pick another book because that was fun.
Yeah, but you got to pick something like
totally crazy next time. Yeah,
Butt Plug or something. Butt Plug Sisters or the Baby Jesus Butt Plug.
I can't wait to read that review.
How many pages is that?
It's not long. It's
Yeah.
like 60 or something like that.
Really?
So like you say, like with the short books, you're not out any much time, if you totally hate it, because 60 pages, not too bad.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's just a good way to like read it quickly,
Mhm.
kind of get absorbed in it, and then fire off a quick review.
Mhm.
Oh, I have one more question. Are you
Yeah.
the type of person that can read more than one book at one time? Or do you
No.
read one book at a time?
No, yeah, I am like monogamous when it comes to my books. I can't
Everything
can't
else,
read.
he's a polygamist.
I
Books
can't
no.
read more than one book at a time. I'd rather just like completely immerse myself in the one storyline.
So if you do have a 600-page book, like,
Just read that one.
that's all you're reading.
Yeah, I'm plowing through that one, and then I can, do the review and not get confused with characters and how I felt and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I have 3
Right.
reviews that I need to write, and I'm still reading more books, and I should have stopped because I need to write those because I've like forgotten some things, but
Yeah, I couldn't do that. There's no way.
especially not with your books. I mean, they're because a lot of like if I read cozy mysteries, they're kind of similar, so I can kind of write sort of the same things, but yours are so different that
And
there's no way.
detailed, yeah.
Mhm. Sweet. Anything else? Anything else
No.
you want to add at all,
No.
Scott?
No, this was fun. I appreciate it.
Yay.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll definitely do it again with you for sure.
Excellent.
sure.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night, you guys.
Okay,
Bye.
see you later.
Bye.
Bye.